No, don't pull on that cord. This is the first time that I'm recording with having the cats where they're like interested in being over here and by me. And now they're both just like crawling all over my lap here and all over the books and pulling at the cord. So, do you want to say hi? Aria, come here. Everyone, this is Aria. After Miss Arya Stark, any Game of Thrones fans, and then I have Dorian in my lap here, which he's probably just gonna stay there for the video. So let's see, background is a mess, hair is a mess. This month, also kind of a mess. So let's jump into everything I read in May. I think I read 17 books this month. I did some rereading though, because I was in a bit of a slump. I'm a big mood reader and I was just in the mood to do some rereads, and I was doing some vlogs, and then I was doing some books specifically for other vlogs, and I was just kind of finding myself in a bit of a slump. So I had to start revisiting some old favorites, but I had some really great books and I had some like not so great books. So let's go ahead and just break everything down that I read this month. Okay, so the first ones that I'm not going to really talk about because they're already up on my channel. I reread the entire Offbalance series. I have a vlog on that already. That's one of my last videos. Please don't bite the cord. So, are you gonna stop? Okay. I reread the Offbalance series. I already have a vlog talking about these. Again, I would give the first 3 5 out of 5 stars, and the goal would be the only one that I would keep at 4. I still absolutely love these books, and I really feel like I could at least reread The Deal and the Mistake every other month and I would never get sick of them. Some of my all-time faves, absolutely incredible. My other reread for this month was Balance by Lucia Franco. I know it's controversial. If you don't want to read it, I'm not telling you to read it, I'm just letting you know this is what I read. And it is one of my all-time favorite series as well. I read it last year and I was just hooked into this series. And again, it sucked me right back in. I'm in the middle of reading the second book right now, and there's something about Rhea and Kova and the character development that happens over the course of these 5 books that I just think is insane. Really, who Rhea and Kova are in the first book and then who they are in the 5th book, it's like mind-blowing to me. The character progression of the two of them and the growth that, it's just addictive. So again, I'm rereading the Offbalance series and I'm really enjoying myself. And another note with this one, I already have 2 vlogs up because Balance I read in my last Banned, Forbidden, and Taboo video. So you can check out my like initial reaction thoughts to that book in that video. And then I did an entire dedicated vlog to the next 4 books, also on my channel as well. So you can check back on that and get my like live in time reactions to reading that series for the first time. But I'm still just loving it. Right at the end of April, I finished it on the last day of April, and then so I didn't get to include it in my wrap up then, but that is Desperate Measures by Katie Roberts. So this one I ended up giving 3.5 stars out of 5. I did really enjoy it, but also like it wasn't my favorite thing that I've ever read. It is a Jasmine and Jafar retelling, and it's all kind of centered around this sex club that Hades runs. And I mean, childhood ruined reading these, but honestly, they're fun. I do really love fairy tale retellings, and especially like Disney characters. Like I'm a sucker for a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And I know that there are tons that have been done before, but this truly is something that I have never read before. In this, Jasmine ends up getting sold to Jafar by her father, and hey, don't claw, mom. And she ends up having to live with Jafar, and it is set in like real world, like they don't have like special powers or anything. It's like as if they're real people, which is it's just a cool spin. It's a cool spin, but definitely like you hear Disney, it's not like Disney appropriate material. And then Learn My Lesson is a Hades, Hercules, and Meg situation. They all kind of have a relationship together. Hades and Meg are this couple, and then Hercules decides to sell himself to Hades, and he thinks that he's freeing Meg in this when Meg is like, I'm not trying to leave, really. Meg and Hades like introduce Hercules to their life. And again, it's just like, it's a fun, cool time. I am planning on keeping on going with the series. I just kind of needed a bit of a break. Because like I said, mood reader. I don't want to push through if I don't want to read it. So my favorite new read of the month was Inked and Lies by Gianna Darling. I was so looking forward to this one and the last one in the series, which I'm planning on reading this month, because these two I feel like get a lot of hype lately, besides Welcome to the Dark Side. Welcome to the Dark Side was not my favorite before this one, but I did still like it. These books haven't been my favorite. I love Gianna Darling's writing, but I think I've realized that like motorcycle just maybe isn't my thing. It's not like my favorite trope ever. But this one here, something about Nova and Lila, I normally hate friends to lovers because I'm like, I need the angst, I need the tension, I need more than what friends to lovers typically offers. But this was so good. So it is book 5 in the Fallen Men series. I think these can be read as like standalones, but they're better to be read in order. I've been reading them in order, and I would definitely recommend doing it that way. Nova and Lila were neighbors growing up, and then once something happens to Lila's whole family, Nova's family ends up taking her in and basically like adopting them as her own daughter. So there is like that kind of, it's not like stepbrothery, but like, I guess it could kind of be there, like you kind of get the vibes, but also it's like not really there. So they have just grown up together. They're like best friends, although there is an age gap. He is what, like maybe 10-ish years older than her. I don't know, there is a bit of an age gap in there. Their relationship from when they're child/teen all the way up to when they're like in their 20s and 30s is just, it's so great to see. And I think Gianna Darling's pacing in this was just perfect. Like there was just the right amount of time spent when they were younger, and there was just enough time spent when they're older, and all the different interconnecting plots from the other books that are going on with the Fallen Men and other characters. It was just, everything was just great. And I really like the fact that Nova was a tattoo artist and that Lila was like his muse. There's just something that was really cool about that. So I loved this one, and I can't wait for Priest and B's book because I have really high expectations for that one. Okay, next up is I think the only non-romance book that I read this month. That is My Dark Nessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. Read with Cindy was the one that I heard about this one from. She had talked about it. I think it was in her top 10 of 2020. So I immediately, as she was talking about it, I'm like, I want to read this. And I immediately put it on hold at the library, and I finally got it. And I am so glad that I read this. I did end up giving this one 4 out of 5 just because I wasn't like completely obsessed with it, but I did really enjoy it. And it follows Vanessa and her teacher, Jacob Strain, or Mr. Strain as he's often referred to in the book. And it is a dual timeline, but it is only one POV. You only ever get Vanessa's POV in this, which I liked. You needed to be in her head for this whole story. I'm sorry now if you can hear a bell ringing or my blinds banging around, because now Dorian has decided to climb on his jungle gym. So Vanessa is 15 and she goes to this boarding school, and she like really pushed her parents to send her there. She's like, I really want to go here, and she starts going, and that is where she meets Mr. Strain. And so it is a student teacher, which I mean, as I've talked about on this channel before in romance novels, I do really like the student teacher trope. This is not that. This is like a real world look at what a student teacher relationship can do to a person. So it jumps back and forth between when Vanessa is in high school and then in present day, and kind of how she's going about her life then. And in the present day timeline is in the height of the Me Too movement. All of these women are coming forward and speaking out against the men who have assaulted them over the time, and there are some allegations coming out against Mr. Strain, and Vanessa is like, well, that wasn't my experience. Like, he loved me, I was different. And then she's starting to hear these stories of these other girls, and she's like, what? And she still talks to Mr. Strain. So she's like working through that and being like, was it? Like, what was my experience? And is it what I thought it was? Because she always thought like it was a relationship. He loved me, he cared about me. And then she's hearing these stories come out, and she's like, was everything a lie? And I remember in one chapter there was a line of, she was just like, I need this to be the truth, because otherwise what is my life? She's like, I need to believe that this was a relationship and that he loved me, and because otherwise what has my entire life been? And oh, it's a heavy book going back and forth. It is pretty graphic in the past when she's in high school and this relationship begins. So it is fairly graphic. You just totally see the manipulation of Strain, and it is hard to read, but it is just a really good book. So I would definitely say look up triggers before reading this if you're going to. I feel like it almost dragged a little bit sometimes back and forth. I feel like there was some that could have been cut out of it, but also at the same time I get what Kate Elizabeth Russell is going for, and like building really strongly this relationship between these two and really showing how deep the manipulation went. But it did just sometimes feel like it was dragging a bit for me. But overall, I would definitely recommend this book. But like I said, just be prepared going into it. It's not going to be like a light, fun summer read by any means. Are you fucking kidding me? Now the garbage is coming. I'm going to like lose my mind. Let's just wait for the garbage to go away, I guess. Taking forever. So I'm just gonna start going, and if it stops, I'll pause. But then I read Priceless by Miranda Silver. I had read The Boys Next Door by her. Like, that was one of the first books that I read this year, and I was like, okay. She wasn't necessarily an author that I was planning on revisiting, but then I saw so many people talking about this book on TikTok, and I was like, you know what, this sounds really good. And I will say for this, I do definitely think that there was way more plot, and these characters were way more fleshed out. It wasn't just like pure smut, even though the smut that was in here was great. This follows Christina and Patrick, and Christina is like a really broke college student. I know they're just trying to do their job. But this is annoying. Okay. No, you're not done? Okay, back it up. Oh, are you leaving? Lilas. Oh, you're not leaving. Oh no, you're picking up something else now. Oh, you're picking up the other garbage. Okay, Lilas. And she cannot go to her family for money because her parents, I don't know, judge the crap out of her. And oh my God. And they always compare her to her older perfect sister. And so she's like, I can't go to them and let them know that I've quit the cheerleading squad and I don't have a job and I'm low on money, whatever. She's like, I can't go to my parents, it's not an option. And then she meets Patrick at a party, and Patrick gives her a little proposal. I will pay you to have sex with me, and me only, exclusively, as long as you know that there will never be any sort of feelings. He's like, don't get feelings for me. Don't. He's like, I'm not gonna be your boyfriend. We're gonna have like scheduled nights and I will pay you, but that's what our arrangement is gonna be, because, you know, he has some shit. And basically, you know, it was a good book for what I read it for. Not my favorite thing I've ever read. I did like that this book was a step up, I felt like, in terms of character development and plot from The Boys Next Door that I had read. However, I found Christina to be really annoying, honestly. There was a lot of times where I was just like, stop talking about your older sister. Like, I get it, but that's your only personality trait, is talking about your older sister. Like, you talk about her, you are as obsessed with her as your parents are obsessed with her. And it was told in dual POVs, but Patrick barely got any POVs, and I felt like they were only in there to be convenient, and almost felt like a little lazy of his thrown in there, so that way we didn't have to figure anything out through Christina, and that way he could just tell us things, which I didn't really like that as much. So anyways, I still gave this 3 out of 5. I did enjoy it. And like I said, I didn't like hate it by any means. It's just not my favorite thing that I've ever read. Then I also read Crave, which is also by Miranda Silver. And it's like a little short story collection. And I thought that it was an extension of this book. And I was like, well, it's a little novella. I'll read after it. And where we left off with Patrick and Christina, I was like, I'm interested to see where they're at now. This was not that. There was like one chapter in this that was them. And it was like 6 other short stories. And I think I gave this a 3 on Goodreads. I would give it a 2. Short stories are just not my thing. This is not something that is like meant for me. I don't love short stories. I don't love novellas. And I think if I would have known going into it that it wasn't like an extended epilogue of Christina and Patrick, I don't think I would have read it. But once I was in there, I was like, let's just finish this. It's short, sweet. It was going to be super quick read, and it was. And I do think that if you like short stories and you just want some like really quick but well-written smut, this is a good one to check out. It's just, for me personally, it's not my favorite. Okay, then I finally finished the Voyeur series by Fiona Cole. So I read the last 3 books. So the first one up is Another. I gave this one 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this one. I still just want to say overall, before I even jump into these last 3, Voyeur, the first one, is still my favorite, ride or die. But I really liked Another, and I would say that this was probably my second favorite in this whole series. This one follows Karina and Ian, and you meet Karina. You meet a lot of these characters throughout the other books because they're all like companions and they're all in the same world. And you meet Karina in Lovers, which is book 2. She's originally a main character in that, and then this is like her real book. And it's her and Ian. They have this like little photo shoot date, like first date, and they hook up. They part ways. She doesn't know his last name. She doesn't know anything about him. And then she finds out that she's pregnant, and she has no way of getting in touch with him. And then like 8 months down the road or something, like really far on down the road, she runs into Ian in a business meeting, and immediately Ian is like, what's that? And they go from there. I really liked their relationship dynamic. Karina is she is that bitch. I loved Karina so much, and I really just liked their relationship progression. It made sense. I liked the baby aspect in this one. That's not always my favorite, but it did just really work in this one. And I just liked seeing Karina get a happy ever after. And then book 5 is Liar. I was so looking forward to this one. This one and Teacher were the two that I was looking most forward to. And I am a little disappointed in Liar. I did give this one, I think I would give it like 3 out of 5. This one follows Olivia and Kent, and it is a uncle's best friend book. So there's an age gap, it's forbidden. I was all into it, and just this cover, normally I hate covers with people on it, like I still wouldn't want to read this out in public, but I'm living for this cover. It's gorgeous. Here's the thing, I love the age gap, I love the forbidden, and I thought that was all great. Just the reveal was not it for me. It took way too long, and I feel like it was a little too insta-lovey at the beginning a bit. And I don't know, it just something about this didn't click for me. I still liked Olivia and Kent, and I was rooting for them to get together, but I just didn't feel like so invested in them. And also there were just certain things that I felt like it was too quick in the beginning and then dragged for too long with the reveal, and it was like a too quick ending then. So I don't know. But then Teacher, that is book 6. This is the last one, and this was the other one that I was really looking forward to, and this one follows Daniel and Hannah. So Dan is Olivia's uncle and Kent's best friend. And then Hannah is, why can't I think of his name? He's from book 3, Savior. It's Alex, and what the hell is his name? I think of his name, but she's the guy from Savior. She's his sister, whatever, I guess it's not relevant, but she's like connected in this world as well. When Hannah was younger, when I think she was maybe like 18 or 19, she and her twin sister were both trafficked on a family vacation, and she was taken for, I don't know, a few months, and then her brother like started the service and tracked her down and was able to save her, but her twin sister did not make it. And so Hannah just has a lot of trauma from that, and especially when trusting men and trying to get into relationships. So she's friends with Daniel, and Daniel offers like, hey, if you want me to like help you out with like working through some of that with no pressure, someone that you can trust, a friend, I can help you. And help her, she does. But again, it's kind of like, it's the friends to lovers, but this friends to lovers really worked for me, I think, because Daniel was just so patient and caring towards Hannah, and she really needed that. And I was invested in Hannah and invested in getting that healing and happy ending for her. So I really loved this one. Again, I would give it 4 out of 5. I think I would rank this at like number 3. Again, I would say check triggers for this one though, because it does get heavy at points. Okay, these two I'm not going to talk about because this video is going to be coming not next week, but the following week, because Tri-Six Venom is coming out this week, and I'm going to have a reading vlog up for that next week. But the following week, I'm finally going to have my Banned Forbidden Taboo Part 2 reading vlog up, and so these 2 books are going to be featured in there, and that is going to be R.I.P. by Charity B. and The Dare by Harley LaRue. I think that's how you say it. All I will just say is I loved one of these, and I did not vibe with one of these. I'm not gonna say which is which. You can check out that video for that, but these were some wild, these were some wild picks. So, hey, another one that I didn't necessarily love, I would give it like a really low 3 out of 5, and that is going to be Daddy's Angel by K.A. Knight. I much preferred Den of Vipers to this. At least Den of Vipers, I thought like was kind of fun. It was a crazy world, I think, with all the characters involved. This one, it just didn't do for me. This one follows Lexi and Tyler, and it's a boyfriend's dad's romance, which, I mean, I love, but in this way, I don't know. It was just a little too insta-lovey. It was just tons of smut, which, I mean, if you're in the mood for, then this is a great one. It's like, I'm not even exaggerating when I say it's like almost every chapter or like every other chapter. So there's definitely that in there. It was just, I almost felt unnecessary for it to be this long and then to kind of throw some certain plot things in. There's obviously some drama with the boyfriend when he finds out that Lexi is now dating his dad. And I don't know, it's a fun, spicy time, but it definitely, I thought, was way too long, and just, I didn't really need the plot, honestly. it could have just been shorter in my opinion. I'm sorry. I liked Den of Vipers, but okay. Then I read Until You by Penelope Douglas. This was my last Penelope Douglas book that I had to read because when I originally read the Falling Away series, I checked them out from my library because they're hard to find. And Until You was not available at my library. Bought it like a while after I'd read the series, and then I just never went around to going back and rereading it. And I'm really happy that I did. So this is technically like book 1.5, I think, in the Falling Away series. It's Bully, but retold from Jared's POV. And normally, if you're new here, I hate retellings just from a different character's POV. I'm like, you're wasting my time. Put dual POVs in the same book if that's what you want to do. Like, I don't want to waste my time rereading the same exact story. This is not that. This was a like completely new look into Bully, new scenes, great insights. Like, I didn't feel like I was just rereading Bully, but from Jared's POV. It was just so good. I loved getting inside Jared's head. There was a lot in here that I'm like, this just makes so much sense of why he acts the way that he does. And I'm just like, I'm always just trying to understand the brooding bad boy, okay? It's a toxic trait of mine that I just always want to understand them and nitpick their brain. And this gave me exactly that. I would say I even liked this better than Bully, but I think it's been so long since I've read Bully, so I kind of almost need to read them side by side and see if that would be for sure. But I really loved getting inside Jared's head and why he makes the decisions that he does and why he acted the way that he acted. So, oof, real good. And last one that I read this month was Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. I had seen this, Riley Marie had talked about this on her channel a lot, so it had been on my radar, and then I saw someone on TikTok that they had just read it. Oh my God, the garbage people are back. We are gonna roll through this because this is the last one and I need to be done recording this. So we're gonna push through. I needed something different at the end of the month. It had been like a little slumpy, like I said, like towards the end of the month, I was just not feeling it, and I needed something to just give me a little pick me up, something different, something fun. This was that. This follows Georgie, who is abducted by these aliens, and she's on a ship, and then this ship crash lands on this other planet, or her and these 11 other girls, and the aliens like left them because they're like, we'll come back for them, they'll be stuck here, whatever. So the aliens go away, and then Georgie's like, crap, we need to figure out like an escape plan. This is not our planet. What are we gonna do? And she's kind of elected the leader. So they're like, go off and see if you can find anyone, find help, find a way home, whatever we can do. And in this time, she meets Vectel, which is a blue alien man from this planet, and they don't speak the same language, but they connect, and immediately Vectel's like, oh my God, she's my mate. And I love mated shit, like in fantasy world, so this was just right up my alley then. And Vectel is like, this species is created basically to be like the perfect species for women. Fun times. And Vectel's tribe of people, they really need some women to mate with because they're getting low on numbers. So when he hears that there are 11 other women, they're like, oh shit, this is great. So there is like the language barrier between them for like, I'd say the first half of this book, which is fun. It's cool to see how they can communicate without being able to really communicate. Rude. I just loved this. This was so enjoyable. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was great world building, great plot, great characters. I felt invested in the relationship for it being like a little insta-lovey because it has to be with the time length of the book, like it is a short book. I felt invested. I felt really invested in these characters, and I was just really enjoying myself, and it was just something so different than anything that I've ever read. And I mean, I'm into it. That's everything that I read in May. Like I said, my Try 6 Venom reading vlog is going to be up next week. And then after that, I'm finally gonna have my Banned Forbidden Taboo Part 2 reading vlog up. I'm excited for that. And then I also have that TikTok Made Me Read It vlog coming in June as well. So it'll be a fun time. Let me know what your favorite book of May was down below, what your favorite new read was. And yeah, I'll see you when I see you.